Hello, and welcome to another TA Tech Tip. In this tech tip, we will review how to use the High Force Compliance Compensation Kit for ElectroForce load frames from 1 to 15 kilonewtons force capacity. Compliance compensation is a standard method to measure the system stiffness, which is a measure of the frame, the installed fixtures, and load sensor. For load frames of 1 to 15 kilonewtons force capacity, we must use the High Force Compliance Compensation Kit. This kit consists of a rigid beam for use with a 3 and 4-point bend fixture, smaller rectangular beams of various thicknesses for use with tensile fixtures and wedge grips, cylinders of various diameters for use with tensile and wedge grip fixtures with face grips for round specimens, and a disc with a gradual curvature for use with compression platens. To begin the compliance compensation routine, make sure the crosshead is not locked. For 3 and 4-point bend fixtures, position the rigid beam on the lower support points at the length span to be used for the actual test. Then proceed to lower the crosshead until the upper contact points touch the sample and apply a small contact load. For compression platens, position the disc in the center of the lower platen and lower the crosshead until the upper platen comes in contact with the sample, applying a small contact load. For wedge grips with wedges for either round or flat specimens, position the corresponding rigid sample in the lower grip, but do not tighten the grip quite yet. Continue to lower the crosshead until the rigid sample sits within the upper wedges and there is about ½ an inch space between the lower and upper bolts on the grips. Using an open-end wrench, tighten the bolts in a crisscross pattern, starting with the lower grip, then finishing at the upper grip. Once the appropriate rigid sample is mounted, lock the crosshead of the load frame and move to wind test. There are 2 locations where to run the compliance compensation routine. One through the main wind test window, and a second one through the DMA application. Here, we will review how to run this routine through the main wind test window. Right-click on the disc comp meter. Then click Calculate It and double-check that the load channel pointing to channel B matches the load cell mounted on the system. Then click Apply and Close. Right-click on the disc comp meter again and click on Properties. In the Auto DC tab, make sure the axial mover is selected, and from the Loading Orientation drop-down menu, select the loading direction of your specific test. Clear the last saved values, then click Run. The routine will run to 10% of the full scale of the load sensor used in whichever direction was specified. At the end of the routine, a non-zero phase correction and system stiffness should be reported. Then click OK. In this tech tip, we reviewed how to use the High Force Compliance Compensation Kit for ElectroForce load frames between 1 and 15 kilonewtons force capacity. Please stay tuned for more useful tips from TA Instruments, and thank you for your interest.